All right, for your DLD assignment for this Green Day rotation, I am going to have you work on journal number 7. It's a lengthier journal, so it will take more of what a class time would take, and it involves some visual analysis, so I think that will be a good thing for you too. And so when you come to this page in the DLD module, it's an assignment page, and it's called the February 2nd DLD assignment. You are going to go to journal number 7. You can click on that here. There's a link to journal number 7. You can also find journal number 7 in the journal module. So it's in both places. So I'm just going to click here for it. You can see here's the link to the journal. It says there's a Google Doc, and when you are done, you are going to upload it here to the Journal 7 area. So you are not going to actually upload it in the DLD module. It is right here in the Journal 7 part, just so that we can keep all of our journals together. You'll click here to make a copy of the journal assignment. And then after you have made a copy, it's going to open up here. I'm just going to go over the cartoon analysis and what I would like for you to do. Again, it is not meant to be anything tricky. It should be pretty straightforward, and it is an activity that I had planned for us to do anyway, so it fits in nicely here for the DLD. The first thing on the AP test, especially in the synthesis section of the AP exam, there is a part where you may or may not have to analyze a cartoon. Most of the time these are political cartoons, or again, they are at least have some sort of like maybe social movement motive to them, so they'll be maybe going along with a current event topic, but more often than not, they are politically motivated. Some techniques that cartoonists use to create humor, because again, humor would be the main objective of a cartoon more often than not, humor or ridicule or mockery, would be first symbolism, and I've listed some symbols down here below, especially ones that are used in political cartoons, again, pretty often. That's when they use an object to stand in place of maybe an idea or a concept or even a person. So using a donkey in place of just, again, a Democratic figurehead, or just to kind of denote Democrats in general. So when you look at your cartoon for this activity, want to look for symbols. You're going to see exaggeration or maybe a caricature of a person's face. For instance, with President Obama, they typically liked, for whatever reason, to give him really big ears. With President Trump, if it's in color, they tend to tint him more orange, or again, maybe do something different with his hair. His lips have been something that, for whatever reason, they've chosen to overdo. So you, again, may see a caricature of a person, or again, a attribute or feature of someone exaggerated. So look to see what's being exaggerated, maybe why it's being exaggerated. They may do like really bold or big words, or again, make a highlight of some part of the movement or the moment, or stereotypes. Maybe they might overgeneralize something, especially with the wall, some distasteful things that they may do there. Labeling. Cartoons do not have to have labels or any sort of language. So if they've gone so far as to have a label, why did they put it there? If there is a lack of a label, why is it so clear? So again, just ask yourself, anytime a cartoonist uses words, why did he or she use them? Again, I think it's a goal of a cartoonist to express as much in picture form as possible. So if they're going to use words, then they are doing it for a purpose or a reason. Analogy, and again, I think this ties in well with symbolism, but what's being compared, especially if there's two things that don't belong together that are being put together, a lot of times they'll try to simplify the argument, so maybe they'll put it in childlike terms. A couple years ago when Clinton was running and she was kind of on the outs, they had her in the land of misfit toys, kind of this allusion to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it fit in really well with the time. They had Trump as the Grinch because it was Christmas time, and so yes, these are symbols, but they're also analogies. They're comparing these two figureheads to something. So again, what are they trying to compare them to? Why are they trying to do that? And then lastly, irony. If they're saying one thing but maybe meaning another, or if it's an ironic position to put that person in or that argument in, Why would they do that? During the Republican primary a couple years ago, during the presidential election, they had each person running. There were so many people. I don't know if you can remember back to before Trump was chosen as the candidate that would represent the GOP, but there were quite a few people wanting to run, and they did like this ice cream flavor thing, and each ice cream flavor was supposed to represent a different person. And again, it was funny because of the symbolism, but also like some of the flavors were kind of ironic in again what they were titled, so the labeling was bringing in some irony. So all of these things kind of piggyback and play off of one another. So again, kind of keeping that list in mind. Some of them will have all of them or a few of them, so don't stress if you don't feel like you found them all, but they're trying to emphasize something about whatever argument or issue the cartoonist is choosing to highlight. All right, and then down here is where you're actually going to fill in your journal. And I have given you a recommendation. I would like for you, and let me see if I can click out of here without ruining everything. Let's see. Yeah, it'll go back to that still. I've given you the recommendation of going here, and here is just the week. It is this wonderful news affiliate that just takes things from all different newspapers and magazines and all these things and combines them into one place. So these are cartoons from just all over the world, and so you can look through these and pick one. So just kind of look through them. Again, there's a January one, and some of these will still be there, some of them won't. It updates every day. So you're going to pick a cartoon, and then you can snip it or you can copy and paste it and put it over here. And then after you have chosen one that you feel comfortable with, don't choose one that you don't understand. Choose one you understand. There's hundreds of them. You can go to a different website too, but make sure that you find one. You're going to go over these questions with it. Try to find out who the cartoonist is and what is the title of the cartoon. So when you're looking at them, you'll see down here, possibly like we can see that that is his name, Joe Herber, Hebler. I may have to Google that just to make sure that I get it correct, but you'll see again they have some signatures there. You may have to again give it a Google because they have signed them with their name, so just make sure you have it right. But like this one has a title, Art of the Deal. This one, January, you'd maybe call it. If it doesn't seem to have a title, you can say like doesn't seem to have any outstanding title, The No Call. If you watched, that's kind of an allusion to the football that's been going on recently, but you can also say, like, we see democracy here, USA, Russia. So there's a lot going on in that. It's relevant because of the Super Bowl time, and then it's also relevant because of just the political climate. So kind of a cool cartoon. So again, look through, figure out who created it, and if there's a title. You need to figure out what the central issue is addressed in the cartoon. So again, it may not be what looks like the issue at hand. For instance, that wasn't a football issue. It was actually a politically minded issue, even though it looked like football. What do I think the cartoonist's argument is, and kind of write it as a thesis statement. So write what you think the cartoonist is claiming in his argument. Then you have to decide, do you agree with the cartoon's argument? And it's okay to disagree with it. These are from both sides of the left and right political landscape, so sometimes it's fun to pick one that you think you want to shut down a little bit there. So you'll explain why you do or do not agree. And then lastly, identify the devices that the cartoonist used, and those were what we talked about up here. So I guess I should have called them techniques, but techniques, devices, hopefully interchangeable in your mind, and explain how each one adds a layer to the argument. If he uses them all, then maybe give me a brief statement on which ones are used. If he just uses a couple, or you think two of them are used, maybe the best, then explain those to me. So again, I should see a pretty thoughtful analysis, and this is the only task I'm giving you through this DLD, so I do expect you to take probably 30 to 35 minutes working on this and writing about it, so I should see a hearty page response to this cartoon analysis. And that is all you'll do for your DLD. Just remember to then upload it back to the Journal 7 place so that you get credit.